Hi everybody, welcome back to Mirrors, and if you happen to be celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday, I hope it's a good one. Last time we left off, Eleno Vision had put on a couple of possibly seizure-inducing concerts in France, and David had a bad dream about a night on a horse and some stabbing, but that's all behind us now. We are continuing on with the tour. I'm going to load a save state to just after where we left off last time because it turns out right after that was another loading screen. So when I load that in, there is going to be a car horn sound effect, so prepare yourself for that. The next morning, the band boarded the bus and departed for their following destination, Tours. Yeah, it turns out that the region in France is not pronounced like the word tour. It's something closer to what I just said. The bus departed from Vannes and made for Nantes, leaving Brittany. Possibly due to their recent success, the band members were busy chatting and didn't feel the need to play cards to pass the time. I still can't believe we're actually performing in France. Remind me again, who was that guy who was freaking out because he had a bad dream about forgetting the lyrics? David, dude, you of all people should not be shit-talking people who have bad dreams. That was a stupid dream anyway. The moment we stepped onto the stage, it was completely out of my mind. If the bus gets to Tours by tonight, we'll have a couple of days all to ourselves. If we get 2 days off, we should really do some sightseeing. David got to visit Paris by night. Or at least, he did in his dreams, and that definitely counts. You don't get to go on a trip around Europe every day. I'd like to see some famous landmarks in the real world, not in a dream. Count me out. I'm going to use those 2 days to come up with a new song. What do you say? I don't know. I don't really care about a bunch of old places. This is my first big job, so I think I'm going to use the time to get some rest. Andrew and Alan had lowered their seats, resting. They must have been tired from their last performance. Martin, meanwhile, had taken out the guitar and was arranging a new song. David looked outside the window while listening to the sound of Martin's guitar. The bus was approaching a large, rocky mountain. A significant number of people could be seen at its top. David forgot when he got off the bus. He was climbing the mountain. Why is he climbing the mountain? The man climbing the mountain was not the same David who had been on the bus. His face and his clothes were different. However, his consciousness had become David's. Because he was in love. David brushed many people aside and kept climbing his way up. David could no longer hear the sound of Martin's guitar. He could only hear the wind blowing past his ears. A few words were going through David's mind. They've finally come. This shall be the final battle. Then he yelled, "I shall perform the final ritual! Prepare yourselves!" Before he could realize it, David had become an archmage of an ancient civilization. His people raised their hands, yelling in excitement. For the last 100 years, David's clan had been under attack by the northern tribes. They had been cornered down below this mountain. The ritual he was performing would bestow them incredible power at the cost of their lives. However, They had no other way to oppose the might of the northern tribes. But if we must all die, then we shall take down as many of them as we can, he thought. They all knew this would be their final stand, and yet they kept cheering on David, the great mage, as he completed the ritual. David began chanting his spell. As if answering to the spell, the altar burst into flames. The drums beat in time with the spell. Their monotone rhythm was almost hypnotic. Additional instruments came after the drums. Everyone present entered a trance, dancing with a violent energy. When their excitement had reached its peak, everything went silent. They all stopped dancing. David raised his head to the heavens and screamed. They followed his example, uttering savage shouts at David. Dark clouds gathered in the sky and blocked the sun, seemingly reacting to David's spell. A bolt of lightning fell from the sky. And then, seemingly on cue, the northern tribes launched their attack. His people had lost any fear of death. They put up a great resistance against their mighty enemy. However, they were all fallen, one by one. The thunderous dark clouds gathered behind the enemy side, possibly reacting to David's deathly enchantment. The wind started blowing and spinning into a terrible tornado. Like an anteater attacking a colony, the enemy soldiers were swallowed by the tornado, their shrieks echoing throughout the air. David raised his head to the heavens, mumbling to himself. The ritual is reaching its final stage. David watched in satisfaction as the tornado swallowed one enemy soldier after the other. He fell to the ground. He felt a sharp pain in his left shoulder. As he turned around, the last thing David could see was a large man swinging his axe toward his head. As he screamed, he realized he was no longer a shaman. He was still in the bus. He must have fallen asleep while looking outside the window, and ended up having another weird dream. The others were also sleeping at the time, but they were awakened by David's scream. David? What's wrong? What happened, David? Did you have another nightmare? You're not looking good. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to wake you all up. You okay? You're as pale as a ghost. Susanna, you got any more of those pills? Sorry I made you all worry. I'm fine now. Do you need sleeping pills? Susanna handed David the same pills she gave him the other day. Thanks. Jeez, man. That must have been one hell of a nightmare. They tried to cheer David up, but after a while they reclined their seats and went back to sleep. Under the effect of the pills, David slept as the bus passed through Angers. In its castle, there is a magnificent tapestry depicting the apocalypse as told in the Book of Revelation. The bus finally arrived at the city of Tours, where they would be performing next. They were in the middle of the Loire region, famous for its many ancient castles. The band would be staying at the Hotel d'Orléans. After that night, they would have 2 days off. The band members, excluding Susanna, were gathered in Alan's room, drinking beer and having a good time. There was some kind of late-night show on TV, but Martin was the only one among them who could speak French. Well, we made it to Tours. Time to celebrate. Here's to a great concert. Huh, this can's empty. Give me another one, would you? Coming right up. How many did you have, Alan? You're going to spend your day off with a hangover. David gave a big yawn. You okay, David? I don't think you're getting enough rest. I think I've had enough beer. I'm going to my room to get some sleep. You better get some rest before you get sick, mate. David left the room. His friends seemed to be doing well, probably thanks to sleeping in the bus. Oh, it's past midnight. We should probably call it a day. Hey Martin, I heard there's some old castles here near Tours. Any cool one you'd recommend? I don't know about cool, but... Oh god, I should have looked up how to pronounce these. But there's the castle of Azay de l'Eradol, or the castle of Amboise. Huh? Alan, turn the volume up! Martin noticed the TV was reporting about some kind of incident in Karnak. Holy crap! They're saying a tornado struck the place where we had our concert just after we left. It blew the stage away and all. Seemingly, a tornado struck the location of the stage as it was being dismantled, causing 2 workers to fall to their deaths and a large number of injured. Martin translated the news report from French. It seemed like the following day would not be a good one, whether due to a hangover or from sleep deprivation. David went back to his room to sleep. He was feeling uneasy, because the dream world and the real world were becoming increasingly hard to tell apart. At the very least, he knew that nothing would actually happen to him if he were to die in his nightmares. A dream is a dream. He was different from his dream self. If he thought of his dreams as movies where he was the main character, he might be able to actually enjoy them. He wouldn't be scared any longer. With that thought, he was able to relax and fall asleep. Or was he? Da-na-na! Sorry. Before he knew... I was kidding, game! Jesus! Before he knew it, David was standing alone in a filthy corner of a stone street. Huh? Where am I? Dream worlds are supposed to be more... magical. There were no lights outside, and no moon in sight, and yet the street was dimly lit. None of the houses along the way had a door facing the street. I feel like I've seen this before. Of course, I'm in a dream. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let's take a walk around. There's a fork in the road. I feel like I've seen this place before, but I just can't remember. A street goes up, and one goes right. He took the path going up. What is this place? Fortune Teller Town? Along the straight road, fortune teller signs lined the houses left and right. Apparently, every single house was a fortune teller shop. David felt something strange as he walked along the street. Synthesizer jump scare! A fortune teller came out of one of the houses on the right side, speaking in a sullen tone. Huh? David was left speechless. What is this place? The fortune teller just keeps repeating the same words with an irritating smirk. David decided to ignore all that nonsense and go on ahead. Lovely, straightforward narration there. David kept walking along the path. The fortune teller came out of one of the houses on the left side, speaking in a spiteful tone. Who are you? The fortune teller just keeps repeating the same words with a grave expression. No, thank you. Do you know me? Salieri, what are you doing here? You didn't answer my question. My name is David. Who are you? Salieri, we just talked. Did you run up the street to catch up to us? Why are you calling me Devil King? What is this place? With a sense of dread, David turned around. He realized the street behind him was an endless line of fortune teller shops. What the hell? Didn't I just walk through here? Stricken by fear, David looked in front of him. That street was also lined with countless fortune teller shops. No way. This street too? Ah! Someone help! The voice of the fortune tellers came from all directions, overlapping each other, hitting David like a storm. David felt like the sound pressure was crushing him. Finally, he collapsed, while covering his ears. When he woke up, he could still feel a ringing inside his head. Damn it. I feel like my head is going to crack open. What a nightmare. David began to cry. Though he was finally back to normal, David felt a sharp pain in his left shoulder. Ow! Looking closely, he realized he had a bruise on his left shoulder, just like the one he had on his chest. Thinking back, he realized that when David the shaman was hit by that axe, he had felt a sharp pain on his left shoulder. David was starting to feel terribly uneasy. Something absurd, something he couldn't explain, was happening to him. David walked to Susanna's room and knocked, but there was no answer. She must be sleeping. I'll just have to make do without them. David returned to his room and forced himself to sleep. The narrator's tummy rumbled even though she had just eaten recently. At that moment, Clark and Vince stopped their car in front of the hotel. Looks like nothing's happening tonight either.
That was a close one, Chief. What if that tornado had struck during the concert?
I still can't believe that actually happened.
Radio News said it was a local thing. It came up and dissipated right after.
Vince could fluently speak French, German, Chinese, as well as the language of his second home, Japanese. Weird incidents happen wherever these guys go. I have a bad feeling about this whole thing.
Why don't we just go back then? They haven't been doing anything suspicious.
It was late at night. The only light came from the hotel's front door. There was not a soul in sight. Everything was quiet. You know what's your problem, Vince? You have no patience. Where's your passion?
Chief, look!
A woman walked out of the hotel, running with small, quick steps. It's Susanna Ling. She's on the move.
Maybe she's going shopping?
Vince, dude, come on. What's she gonna buy in the middle of the night, you dunce? Let's follow her.
Got it.
They entered their car and drove slowly, tailing Susanna. She's walking as fast as she can without being too conspicuous. She's probably going to take a cab at one point.
Where do you think she's going?
Cool. Love that for me.
Makes sense. A young lady shouldn't be taking a stroll in the middle of the night. These are dangerous times.
I don't get it. We're in the middle of the night and she's basically running off somewhere. If she wanted to take a cab, she'd be better off waiting somewhere well lit.
I know, right? She could have just called a taxi service from the hotel.
That's it, Vince. She must be meeting someone. Someone she's not supposed to be seen with.
Chief, she's entered an alley. The car can't go in there.
Did she notice us? We'll have to keep tailing her on foot. Hurry!
Wait, Chief, I can't get the seatbelt off.
By the time Clark and Vince entered the alley, Susanna was already gone. They couldn't even hear her footsteps. They ran down the alley. Once they came out to the street, there was nobody in sight. They could only see the lights of the cars passing by. We lost her! Where was she going, anyway?
This is so weird. This alley is one straight path. No curves, no forks. How did we lose her?
Ling's mysterious outing only added more fuel to Clark's doubts about the case. We're going to leave off here for today. Join me next time for more mirrors. See you then!